Hello, Dr. Mark Daly here. If you have been watching my videos for any length of time, you know that I am a functional medicine practitioner and I specialize in helping people with chronic conditions. Specifically, we work with many fibromyalgia patients. Now, I have recently opened a whole community for fibromyalgia sufferers that are seeking relief, trying to get well, trying to get their lives back. It's a really cool platform. It's called School, SKOOL.com. I'll leave a link in the description, but this is a community where we can actually talk to each other. I have a whole series of videos there that help walk you through the process of recovery. And more than that, there is a community, much like Facebook, where we can talk to each other. You can direct message one another. I have office hours where you can talk to me directly if you're serious about recovering from fibromyalgia. This is a wonderful opportunity. Right now, the platform is free. At some point, there'll be a fee to be part of this community. But I wanted to encourage those of you who have been part of this YouTube family to join us. It's called Fibromyalgia Heroes. And I'll leave a link to that in the description. If you'll click on that link, apply, just answer a couple of questions to be part of the community. I would love to speak with you directly. Guys, God bless you. Thanks so much. And I look forward to talking with you within the community. God bless.
My name is Amy Fish, and I've been suffering with fibromyalgia for 27 years now. And just recently, in the past 7 months, I found some help that really helped me tremendously. After traveling all over and spending thousands and thousands of dollars to get this help and never having any success, I wanted to share what I've recently found that helped me to get my life back. Dr. Mark Daly has helped me to understand what the underlying causes are of fibromyalgia and how to address them bit by bit, piece by piece, so your body can recover and eventually get rid of the toxic and inflammation that is ravaging your bodies continuously every day. I just wanted to share with everybody how my life has changed in the past 6-7 months and how I'm able to live my life now.
I literally had the flattest stomach yesterday in like 6-7 months
Yeah.
more, like
Yeah.
since we've met basically yesterday.
Well, that's amazing because the before and the after that you sent me was
Probably.
Also amazing. And if it was flatter than that,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't get any flatter. So that's awesome. That's awesome.
Sher Greek.
Sherry, when what was your major problem when you came to me?
I was experiencing severe bloating, which was also just impacting my day-to-day life. It would kind of seemingly come out of nowhere, and I was to a point where it was hard to sit, it was hard to stand, I'd want to lay down, and therefore had no energy to do certain things. It felt like there was kind of like a bowling ball sitting on my stomach, and then along with that was experiencing a lot of gas and all the things that come with that.
Yeah. Now, how old are you?
I am 29.
You are definitely on the younger end of the scale that I work with, because I work with women that are in their 50s and 60s and some even in their 70s that want to get better. But some of those ladies, they started just like you, but they never got help. And they ended up on this cascade that just got worse and worse. They go to the modern medical professionals and they try to treat just the symptoms, and they really don't dig deep enough to find out what the actual problem was. So when you came to me, we talked. We did I guess basically a consultation, kind of got some background, and then we did some testing.
Yes.
And the testing really helped us identify, I think, probably some of the root causes of the problem. Then we
Yes.
made some dietary modifications. We added some supplements, and then the hard work was up to you, which meant you had to change your eating habits, change some things. And then how long was it before you started seeing results?
Trying to think, I feel like so we started the first 30 days were pretty tough, making all those changes. And also definitely experienced the die-off symptoms at the beginning, because we found that I did have candida, which was also helpful because I had always suspected I had a gluten allergy, and the tests, showed that I didn't. So that was really helpful to kind of clear that up for me. But I just want to speak to the die-off symptoms because for me, it was a real sign too that there was something wrong. The way my body reacted when I took out all the junk, and I thought I was eating clean, but when I had to really sit with myself and track and just kind of follow the app and go through that, it was just so interesting. The first like 4 days when my body rebelled so much. So I'm trying to think. I want to say it really, I mean, by the end of the 30 days, I already was experienced like starting to feel better. And then I do remember I just felt like something clicked after I think 3 months, where it felt like it was just, I had reached more of like a steady state of improvement.
Yeah.
And now I think it's been about 6 months since we started.
Yeah. So it's really a process.
Mhm.
Yeah, it is a process, and it builds. And the beautiful thing is that by removing the foods that were aggravating and by killing the foods that were also causing inflammation, it allowed your body to do what it does best, which is heal itself. The
Yeah.
physician within is key. Give us the Reader's Digest version of what kind of health issues you were struggling with when you and I initially met.
I would say very easily 24/7 head to toe pain and exhaustion. Just pretty much that. My life was not fulfilling at all. I was seeing things disappear on a weekly basis from my life, from what I could do. So yeah, that's it. Besides that, of course, the seizures and the migraines. And when I started with you, I really did not think there would be any impact on either one of them. That was not what I was looking for, not what I was expecting. I had, like I said, I had seizures for almost 20 years. They started late in my life, but I did have migraines from the time that I was 15. And I started with you February 7th, after, I'm sure many can relate to this, being skeptical, being scared, being unsure, believing it was too good to be true, and researching you a great deal, and decided that it was worth a shot. My health was worth a shot. My husband agreed, and so we did it February 7th. Since February 7th, I have not had a migraine at all, not even a start of one. After I started, when we first started doing the detox, I noticed a drop in the pain level in about 10 days. And of course, the more I did things, the more I kept to what I was supposed to eat and did things right, it got better. Mm-hmm. I'll give you a great example. My daughter had my first grandchild 6 weeks ago. She told me at Christmas. I was thrilled, super excited, of course, my first grandchild, but I knew that I could not help her. I knew that in my heart. I knew there was no way I could do what my mother had done for me. And then I got with you, and everything changed. And so by the time she had my granddaughter in August, I was able to stay with her from day one, coming home from the hospital for an entire month, and go down early in the morning, take that baby, tell her, go to bed, take a nap. I've got this. I cannot tell you what that's worth.
Wow.
I cannot. There's no words to tell you what that's worth.
Well, let me ask you this, just going back, because that is really the most recent payoff. But when we started, you were having, as far as brain fog, gastrointestinal distress, and you mentioned the fatigue and pain already. But what about the gastrointestinal issues?
Right. They, everything was systematically messed up. It was messed up. Of course, I didn't realize that until we did the testing, but that got regulated out and got better. And I tell people about the foods that I can't eat and things like that. They automatically assume that I'm on some kind of diet and I want to lose weight. And I tell them, no, I'm doing it to get healthy. That's just a side effect. I have lost a lot of inches, but not what I was really going for.
Yeah. Now,
I really wanted to be able to stand and wash the dishes, or even stand and brush my teeth.
There are a lot of people that relate to that. And then what about brain fog?
Oh, sure.
Are you getting more clarity as far as your thinking?
Yes, absolutely. I'm still not sure what exactly caused that, but it absolutely did get better.
Then we had
if my husband were here to talk to you, he could tell you also.
What would he tell me? What do you think he would say?
Oh, he would tell you that it's like night and day with me. I mean, I'm able to do things. In fact, our entire future has changed. Our future plans for our retirement have changed completely, because he had planned everything around my comfort. And now it's different.
Now, we had a few side benefits too, because when you went to the doctor for your regular checkup, your primary care physician, we had changes. Didn't we have changes in your blood pressure and also in your cholesterol?
My blood pressure is better.
Yeah, I thought you told me that when you went, that it was way down and they hadn't seen it that low in quite some time.
People would take it and they would say, well, we're going to take it again. It's like 140 something over 120 something. I'm like, it's just going to be like that. If you can get a reading down to close to 100, take it. That's a good day.
Yeah.
And now they take it and the bottom number is under 100. So yeah, that's better.
Well, after having gone through the experience with me and working through the program, the recovery program, coaching program, would you recommend that someone suffering from a chronic disease, whether it's fibromyalgia, irritable bowel syndrome, chronic fatigue, or autoimmune diseases, would you recommend that they try functional medicine?
Absolutely. I do it all the time. All the time. I tell people to do it.
Okay.
My best friend right now is just been diagnosed with Raynaud's disease, and she's very upset about it. And I told her, I said, watch his videos. Watch his videos.
Well, thank you. And I appreciate you.
Oh, I want to tell the world.
Yeah, I appreciate you
I
being.
could tell the world about you, Dr. Daly.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much. It makes me happy to make a difference in people's lives. You know, all of us have to make a living somehow. But if you can make a living being a blessing and a benefit to other people, especially, you know, those of us in the household of faith that are believers, um, I think it's a good day. So I am so thankful to have had the opportunity to serve you. Now, the thing that I also want to mention is that you and your husband came from Texas on your way somewhere else, but
Yes.
you came and stopped by, sat right here in my office because people won't know that you're in Texas
Yes, we
still.
did.
Yeah, but I got to look this
Yeah.
precious woman in the face and her husband. And I tell you what, I know a lot of the ladies watching this, they may not have the benefit of a supportive husband like you do. But the ones that are the most successful, they do. They have a husband that's backing them and supporting them. And I remember there
Oh,
was,
I'm sure.
yeah, I remember at one point you told me that your husband had lost, following you, doing this with you, that he had lost over 30 pounds.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
he wasn't on my program, but he was supportive of you. You guys ate like each other
Right.
in large part. Well, that is awesome. Again, let me just thank you for being vulnerable and sharing with other people that are in your position what your experience was, because it's really, you know, there are people that are on the border of, wow, do I do this, don't do I not do it? And I think when they see real people just like you that have had a positive experience, it helps them.
I want to say take the leap. That's what I want to say. I want to say take the leap. Do what it takes to invest in yourself. That's my message.
Well,
Invest in your life, in your family, in your husband, in your children, um, your grandchildren. You know, there's you cannot make up for this.
yeah.
I really thought what I had was a life sentence, and you changed that for me.
Well, thank
And the
God.
fact that you're a Christian is wonderful.
Well, thank
That's
you.
just a great thing too.
Yes. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so if you would introduce yourself, just your first name is fine.
Jennifer.
Well, Jennifer, what kind of symptoms were you dealing with that kind of made you reach out to me?
So I was having a lot of brain fog, which I think stemmed from my fibromyalgia diagnosis from years ago. And then severe exhaustion, where I just felt like I couldn't do anything and had been in and out of doctors' offices for the last 20 years with
Oh,
nobody
wow.
able to give me any kind of resolution. There was several pills they'd have me try this or try that, and everything would make me worse. So
So the main thing, brain fog, but I guess the real thing was just that horrible fatigue where just
yes.
getting through the day was a struggle.
In fact, there were days where, like every hour or two between work, I would have to take a 15-minute nap just to be able to get through my work day. I'm fortunate enough to work from home that I could do that. But, it was just getting through normal stuff was awful.
Now, did you have gastrointestinal trouble as well?
I did. I would have some pretty severe stomach pains. Um, and I also was having issues with ovarian cysts
Oh,
that were happening regularly.
okay. Okay. So what was it that prompted you then to look for me or to seek out an alternative form of treatment? How'd that happen?
I had kind of given up on finding anything that would help after so many times going into the doctor's offices, and doctors would run the same tests that had been run the year before with the same results. Um, but I was kept hearing your advertisement on the Christian radio station. And so I finally kind of decided, well, I'm just going to give this a wing and talk to him and see what this is about. Um, And so a lot of this stuff that you talked about when I initially spoke with you was stuff that my research had shown me in the past. So it was things I knew to be true. I just hadn't had someone walk through it with me and help me through the process.
Mm.
Yes, I have the MTHFR genetic defect. So I have one level of that. My kids both have two of the defects, but I've got one.
So for people that may be listening that don't understand what that one, at least one of the areas that causes you trouble is in detoxifying. We did a thorough history. We talked about your, well, your travel history growing up in the Amazon, right?
Correct.
You had certain exposure. We looked at mold, we looked at the possibility of environmental toxins and a few different things. And we decided on the testing to do. We did our testing. And then with the results of that testing, we designed a treatment protocol that was specific for you.
Well, one of the things that really surprised me is that I had anticipated it was going to be very difficult to be disciplined enough to stick with this program. And, you know, I've always had a struggle with sugar where I just will go to sugar anytime that I'm upset or tired, which when you're tired all the time, then that's a constant. So I thought, well, this is going to be a major struggle, but it really wasn't. After like the first week, maybe 2 weeks of working really diligently within the guidelines that you had provided, I was not having cravings. I wasn't having any issue. It was very simple to stick with.
Very good. Now that makes me happy. So basically what we did is we put a diet together that was based around what we found in our testing. And then we added supplements to help you detox, to kill things that we found that were causing even more toxicity, causing a heavy burden on your system. And then over the course of a couple of months working through that, you started noticing changes, right?
Yeah. And at first, I was even more tired. But I had suspected that would happen as things were dying off in my system. So it wasn't any kind of a shock. But I do admit that, you know, at the beginning, I was kind of like, is this going to work or not? Am I just diving money into something else that's not going to be productive? But it was worth trying and seeing. And it was, you know, a while into it, after things started dying off, that then all of a sudden it was like a switch flipped and I started increasing energy levels, which was absolutely fantastic.
I think you had mentioned you hadn't had this much energy in a decade.
Oh, it's been more than a decade. It's been decades. I would probably say about my 11th grade year in high school was when my energy levels dropped drastically. I had malaria that year, so that's why I remember
Oh,
specifically what year it was. It was like I never recovered after my malaria.
wow.
Um, so this is the most energy I've had since I was a kid. But
Wow.
I wake up every morning, usually before my alarm goes off, between 6 and 6:30, and I go for a walk between a mile and 2 miles. I'll go sometimes again during my lunch break in the afternoon, and then I always go after dinner. But I just have the energy to do it. It's not like I'm having to make myself and push myself. I just have the energy to do it.
Yeah. Well, this is an opinion, but if you continued down the road that you were on, following the medical model or just being pushed back and forth, do you think you ever would have gotten better?
No, absolutely not. Because I've tried that for, you know, I've been going and seeing doctors regularly for years and years. And they would, like I said, occasionally prescribe some kind of medication, which would then make me worse. And so I would stop taking that. Um, and then I'd go for the next few years with them saying, we can't find anything. We can't figure out what's wrong. But my body was showing symptoms of what was wrong. I even had a really bad rash. And I noticed that every time I had sugar, the rash would get way worse and it would itch like crazy. And I'd been to the doctors several times about that. And I'd even told them from my research, I think this might be a candida rash. And they pretty much just laughed at me and said no, and gave me some medicine for it instead. But the tests that we did showed that indeed that was one of the issues that I had. And, we were able to get that taken care of. So
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
I wouldn't have gotten anywhere continuing to work with traditional medicine doctors.
Yeah. So your energy is better than ever. Your gut issues, do you have any trouble with your gut nowadays?
No, my gut is better. My ovarian cysts have completely stopped. And I was at the point where I was very much considering getting a hysterectomy, but I don't have them at all anymore. My brain fog has pretty much disappeared. Like, I can concentrate all day at work and get a lot more done. And, that I noticed disappeared when my daughter was born. So that was 13 years ago, was when I started having major issues with being able to concentrate. And so I finally feel like I'm back to being able to really contribute in the workplace. It's all fantastic.
How much weight have you lost to date?
I have lost 40 pounds.
Wow, 40 pounds. Praise the Lord. That is good news, isn't it? And you just
Good.
look beautiful. You
Thank
just
you.
got a beautiful glow and a beautiful smile. I'm just so thrilled, and the possibilities are endless. So I am so proud of you, and I am so thankful that you did do our program and that you benefited. And I think that you being vulnerable like you are now for other people that may be struggling, and many of them are like you, they struggle for decades and
Yep,
have been on multiple medications and never gotten better, that they might be encouraged to just go back to
absolutely.
basics and do some of the things that you did to get better. But I want to thank you very much for taking time to share.
Absolutely.
If you are struggling with a chronic condition and would like more information, feel free to visit www.birminghamfunctionalmedicine.com. You are also welcome to set up a phone or Zoom consultation with Dr. Daly at www.talktodrd.com.